The star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the Panther. That dude Biz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin, flying around the field, starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot to death, oh yes, these other sports podcasts live as a froze corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season if people starting five. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. If the sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat spit. I got what you need.
That's right, y'all. Every week we got what y'all need. It's me, your boy the mayor, that DJ named Ace5, your mom's favorite fat guy, all the way from deepest, darkest Africa. And we are back with the newest episode of the Starting Five. As always, we need y'all. If y'all want y'all comments read on the page, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so you can get yourself up right on the bright lights and you see the shining lights in my background. And the shining light next to me, this way, the light-skinned man in the room, the one that don't need to turn the light bulb on in that room.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Looking like a lovely weekend out there. Glad to see y'all back and getting this show popping today. Looking forward to it. A lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we got a quick one. Quick one. Shout outs to Lisi as always, loyal supporter. TJ, we got a quick one this week.
Yeah. It's light, but it's good.
It's light.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's light. We'll just get right into the shit, man. JP, we don't know if he's coming in this week because we know we're gonna see the brother later. We got some hanging out to do in a little while.
Indeed.
But just to get this shit over with, well, first and foremost, let me say this first while I pull this up. I'm not gonna play with no audio or nothing, but I'm gonna say this. This episode might not see the light of YouTube for as long as we are up on YouTube. Like, because once we get into the NFL shit, man, YouTube has been pulling down shit when you're kind of speaking unfavorably about the Coviticus situation.
Oh, word.
And I'm not too happy about what's going on with the NFL personally, but even though I'm not in the league or nothing, but we're going to get there. But we're going to start off with who we're watching these highlights on right now. The Milwaukee Bucks 50-year drought is now over. And that man right there that you see on camera, Giannis Antetokounmpo, with like the closeout game of like all closeout games. What was his stat line, TJ?
50 piece. He had a 50 piece. He dropped 50, I believe 10 boards and like 4 or 5 assists and 2 blocks. He filled up the stat sheet. He was doing a little bit of everything, but to drop a 50 piece on a closing game, I don't think that has been done in like, I can't even remember how many years it's been since somebody's done that in a closing game. And he had a phenomenal series for a big man. I mean, he definitely is going in the record books for his performance in this series. It's one of the greatest final series for a big man in years, in years. So shout out to them.
Absolutely.
I didn't have them winning, so that's a surprise. I thought,
Yeah, I think the whole show, T. I think we all, even JP, had the Suns winning,
yeah.
which you know, as JP said, I guess he got it right. The team with the ball in their hand last. I guess that's what it was. The team with the ball in their hand last was the one to take it. But yeah, I mean, this whole entire playoff this year was the whole entire playoff this year was like just the Bucks. If they didn't take you out early, once you pass game two or three, it was pretty much like count your days. It was like count your days to me, and that's what they did with these Suns. It's just they overcame a 2-0 deficit and kicked in the overdrive and just whooped ass, TJ.
Yeah, well, like you said, this whole playoff series in general was unprecedented. The Atlanta Hawks get into the conference finals in the East. The Suns doing what they did with the heavyweights that were out in the West. A lot of injuries this year took a lot of teams out, but the Suns were still playing that almost. They were, I believe, the number two seed because Utah was number one for like the longest, and they came in and did their thing. So I mean, this was a very interesting year for the playoffs, and the teams that took advantage of what happened, i.e., the Bucks, they came out on top, and they definitely held court. Philly was supposed to be the favorite coming out of the East. They folded. Um, Utah,
Brooklyn was the
Brook,
real favorite.
the Brooklyn was the real favorite, and everybody wanted to see a Brooklyn Philly um, Eastern
Eastern
Conference
Finals,
Finals.
yep.
Yeah, and that just never happened. Out in the West, you had Utah. They folded. The Lakers had their injuries and they folded. They were looking for that type of matchup, and here come the Suns trucking along, you know, taking care of business, and they did their thing too. So, shout out to Milwaukee. It's been
Yeah.
50 years. I think the Knicks are right behind them with like 48
so
years.
so we hope.
Yeah, since they last won a champ, they won the last year. The last time they won a championship was the year I was born. So it's been a
Well,
long, long, long time.
at least he's asking. No cigar for you, TJ.
I'm indoors. I can't. I don't smoke indoors.
But yeah, shout out to the General Mike Patton. He says Chris Two Face Middleton flipped his coin on heads more than it did on tails this series. Absolutely, absolutely. Like early, like I said, early in the first two games, Chris Middleton was could nowhere to be found at first. He was either hot or he was not, and it was a problem at first. Sorry for the noise, y'all. Got trucks rolling through. But Chris Middleton came up huge when it was necessary. TJ, he
Indeed,
came up
I-
huge.
indeed. He definitely was the closer in this series. Giannis got him to where they needed to be, and he closed the game out. This was the thing. The Suns couldn't figure them out because Giannis was killing them inside and Middleton was killing them outside. It was pick your poison, and they couldn't stop either guy. If they could like make one person beat them, would you rather Middleton beat you or you rather Giannis beat you? And they could not figure that out. And I was surprised because Monty Williams is a good coach. He's a very good coach, and I thought he was going to outcoach Mike B for this series, and I was wrong. I was way wrong.
But you know
So
how I say about coaching though is with coaching, yeah, you can quote unquote out coach, but guess what? It's not the coach's responsibility to put that ball in the basket. It's not the
indeed,
coach's responsibility to play defense. Basketball is easy. Like to me, it's easier to. I don't. I don't want to disrespect to say it's easier to coach. Let me not say that. I just think that it's a matter of trusting what matchups you put on the floor. But the Bucks had an answer for everything in the last four to get the win. The Bucks had
Right.
an answer for everything.
Right. Well, and that just goes back to the 1-2 punch. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you got to look. The Bucks have shooters. I don't know if you were watching them earlier in the season, but um, there was one game where the entire team shot like 12 or 13. Oh no, matter of fact, it was like 33 pointers or something like that. And in the first half, they shot like 11 3-pointers, and everybody was on fire. They had shooters. They surrounded Giannis with a ton of shooters. DiVincenzo's a shooter, Middleton's a shooter, Holiday's a shooter. You know, I forgot the other kid's name that they have. They have shooters, decent, not great shooters, but they have decent shooters, guys who can put the ball. Even Brook Lopez can pull from outside. He can bring his man out, and he can shoot from deep. So, when you surround your team with shooters and you can let this man do his thing in the middle, where it's not him bully balling and just driving to the basket consistently time after time after time, and he's got trust in his teammates to knock down the shots. That's very hard to defend. I don't care what team you got. It's very hard to defend. If you're not matching that firepower with shooters on your end, then it's going to be a long night for you guys. So, shouts out to Mike B and the Bucks and putting that whole squad together and making it work. And
Like the general says here, right here, he says, and can folks finally give Drew Holiday love as one of the best defenders in the NBA, pound for pound?
indeed,
Absolutely,
indeed,
absolutely, absolutely. Mike also says, Bucks shooting. He said Bucks shoot some off the wall threes. They shot some off the wall threes though. Off the dribble threes, they were awful. True
yeah,
indeed.
yeah. And when they missed, they paid for it. They went cold in that first game. I believe they didn't make a lot of threes at all, and it showed. And it's a make or miss league, as they say. If you're gonna live by the three, you're gonna die by the three. And these guys, hit the shots when they counted. And that's what mattered at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
true indeed. True indeed. So man, congratulations to them, man. It's like, 50 years though to finally take that. And for what most would say is two teams that were not like the, you know, bright lights of big city type teams like
Definitely small market teams, smaller market
yeah,
teams. I mean, nobody's going to Milwaukee for vacation anytime soon.
true indeed.
I mean, Phoenix, you got people retiring and stuff out there, but it's definitely not the market to just want to move to the desert, you know what I'm saying, and all that heat. So,
Right. He said, can someone check on PJ Tucker to see if he is still sipping from that bottle and drunk out of his mind? Hey, Mike, I mean, if you ever won championships in your life, that shit is well earned and much worth it to be that drunk and that fucked up. You got the entire off season to participate and do that.
your
Just like
man,
how Alex Ovechkin did when he did the cup.
your
How he
man's
took that
doing
shit everywhere.
your man's doing his best J.R. Smith impression right now with the shirt on instead of the shirt off. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right?
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
True indeed, though.
indeed. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Bucks. It'll be interesting season coming up at the end of this year to see if they can defend their title. Everybody's going to be coming back healthy. We'll see how the injuries play out later in the year, as they always do for the playoffs. So it's a lot. People are going to be moving around, different squads, not too major, but people are definitely going to be upgrading their team. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But again, like you said, shout out to the Bucks. They did their thing, and they definitely earned that chip.
He didn't mean to say TJ, but he meant to say PJ was about as faded as that tattooed hairline he got. As he added the correction there, but yeah, that
I
was
wish I
funny.
was that faded. I've never been that faded in a long time. So
Oh, I seen it. Talk about sleep at the bar. You and your brother fell victim to that shit. Both of y'all niggas did that shit. Unbelievable,
Whew.
unbelievable, man. But because we said to y'all, this is a quick hit type of show. This is a quick episode. We're gonna get right into our last joint right now. Why am I? Oh yeah, I wanted to share screen. I'm like, why the fuck am I clicking share screen? But this NFL shit, man. NFL informs clubs that COVID-19 outbreaks amongst unvaccinated players could lead to forfeited games. TJ, this thing here, well, before we get into that, there's more of his comments. He said, I've been so faded that I've woken up the next day at a stranger's house on the opposite side of town, and it snowed that night. I've been, man, listen, if we were to go on getting faded stories, my most famous one, and I could go get my boy in the office right now to testify to it. I was so drunk from my 24th birthday party that when I got home, after driving and dropping people off, by the way, I went on the toilet, I took a shit, rolled over, and then started throwing up bile. I was throwing up so hard, bile came up in the tub. And the shit was yellow.
uh,
But
uh,
I was heaving so hard, that I popped blood vessels in my eyes. And
damn, bro.
that was one of the worst. Yeah, yeah. But I've
That was
never
a
been
bad
faded
night.
where I didn't know where I was or what I was doing. Because like I said, I drove home that night. I knew exactly what the fuck I was doing. I knew what was going on, all that shit. But back to the NFL shit.
Whew.
The NFL informs clubs that let me share the screen again so y'all can follow along with us. No, not this comment, but there we go. Yeah, son, it was that bad, yo. It was that bad, y'all. But for those listening via podcast, I'm just showing from the NFL.com. They say, once again, NFL informs clubs that COVID 19 outbreaks amongst unvaccinated players could lead to forfeited games. It's just a piece of the article right now. But what I'm not liking so far with everything that's going on surrounding COVID is nowadays the only thing that we're hearing about is it's only allegedly people who are unvaccinated are the ones that are causing this problem. It's only us people who aren't vaccinated. I know you're responsible. Yeah, you got vaccinated. I just have the vaccine card. I did not get vaccinated because I'm gonna say it. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it like some other people said on their shows recently, and I say it again. I'm waiting for this test period to be over. Then maybe later, if I feel the need to have to get it, I'm gonna get it. To me, there's too many things still to call the question about this thing. But do you? If you feel that the vaccine is right for you, if you feel that the vaccine is going to help protect you, do whatever you feel is right for yourself. But now, when you have shit like this with the NFL, you you're going to be causing problems that could be avoided if you just let these people be. One statement I'll make is, what happened to the herd immunity thing?
Whoa.
What happened to the herd? What happened to if we all get if a certain percentage of people get the vaccine would be all right. But yet there's the variants that are going around, right? You can still catch COVID even with the vaccine. It's just supposed to help you not stay out of the hospital. But what made me call the question even that much was also I had to look it up. And right now, over 4,000 plus people have died from COVID after getting the shot. Numbers that they're not telling us right now. They're only telling us one side. Like, yeah, the general's saying here, it actually is mostly unvaccinated people. I talked to a doctor about it. I mean, we all can talk to doctors about it. I'm gonna talk to some of my medical professional friends about it too. And I'm sure, yeah, the majority of numbers, you know, uh, you know, I'm sure a majority of the numbers are people who aren't vaccinated. But do the right thing in these reporting and report the people who did get vaccinated. I know why you're not. they're not doing it because they don't want to fear people from getting the vaccine. They don't want to tell people that, okay, you can still catch COVID while you have the vaccine.
Well, I think what the misconception is, if you get the vaccine that you're not going to get COVID. It's a vaccine. It's not a cure.
Right, right,
And
absolutely.
people are conflating the two as if you get the shot that you won't get COVID. It's not the case. It's not the case. You get the
And
vaccine for
people caught COVID twice already.
right, but
People caught it more without the vaccine.
it's just like any other vaccine that you would get even as a child when you were growing up for chickenpox,
Hmm.
measles, mumps, whatever diseases that you can get as a child. Doesn't mean you can't get it. It just means you're protecting yourself against it, even if and when you do get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like the flu shot. The flu shot is a vaccine. Doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu, but it'll help you in getting the flu to a point where it's severe, where you're laid up out of work. You could be going to the hospital. You can catch something else like pneumonia from it. It's just a deterrent. It's a deterrent, and that's what
Right.
you
Right.
got to
Right.
look at it as. Also, now that you're looking at it, the rise in the variant right now is from the people that are unvaccinated. If they've been reporting stories about Texas, Florida, of course, Louisiana, most of these southern states where the majority of people are not vaccinated at, who are getting this, and it's rapidly spreading. It's spreading even faster because the variant is a little bit different. It spreads faster than the original COVID 19 virus. So you know they're telling people, listen, you know this, it wouldn't spread as fast or at as a higher rate if you did get vaccinated. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, facts being reported, opinions being reported as facts, and people are
Right.
getting confused. There's a lot of, as they're saying, the saying's going out, Facebook virologists and epidemiologists running around here. You know, I'm telling these people, if you're going to believe Facebook, then cancel your benefits for your health benefits and stuff like that, and let these people cure you when you get sick. Because if you don't want to trust your doctor, then you shouldn't be trusting anybody, trying to trust in anybody else either at this
No,
point.
true indeed. But here's my thing, and you could call the conspiracy theorist in me with all of this. It's why not why not tell the truth on all sides?
No, I'm
That's
with you on
and
that.
that's my thing. It's like tell the truth on all sides. Tell the people, yes, you can still like be real. Tell them, yes, even with the vaccine, you can still catch COVID, and yes,
Right,
it can still be fatal. But to
right.
me, like, and let me just build this really, really quickly for you. It just it I am not mad at people who still feel like this, that everything behind this, it still calls doubt in your mind because you could, at first they was like, oh, get it, get it, get it. They wasn't telling people, like, they were trying to advertise it like it was a cure. Then it was, no, it's not a cure. It's something to help you out. It's just like any other vaccine, as you mentioned.
Right.
But then it's, they're not telling people are still dying from after it. People got in the COVID shot. Like I heard somebody on some podcast recently, they said um, a family member got the shot, a friend's family member got the shot, never been ill, sick or nothing like that, really ever in life, and then died a couple weeks, 8 weeks after getting the shot. Like, tell people the truth. If
No, I'm
I
with
think
you.
I think I think if they were more truthful about things, they would get more results. Be honest. And the point that I wanted to tie in was it also just feels like a pharmaceutical money grab in some sort of a way from the government because when you look at it like this, they want people to get the two shots instead of the one. When Johnson and Johnson had the 6 white women die after taking the shot, it was Johnson and Johnson's got to get pulled. We got to put warning labels all over it, all of that. But it's still, you got to get the two shots. Johnson and Johnson's back with the warning labels and all that. But then now it's more of a push to continue to get the two shot. They don't even bring up the Johnson and Johnson one anymore. It's like get the two shot, get the two shot. It's like what's the there's just something that, again, I'm not trying to play like you said, Facebook pharmaceuticals. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just
No,
calling to question valid shit that people have. But most people who are for it will say that it's not valid. You should just go get it just because and blah 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 because you did it. But no, not everybody's going to operate in the same mind as you.
right,
Not
right,
everybody's going to operate, and especially not me, because me is, like I said, I'm not against it, but I'm not getting it right now. I'm
right.
waiting until this thing is a little more proven, because like you mentioned measles, mumps, chickenpox, all them vaccines. Which what was the other one? Polio. Polio
Right.
actually made a fuck. I seen somebody make a post the other day talking about, oh, you don't hear nothing about polio. Polio actually made a comeback if you actually do your Googles and look it
It
up.
did. It
Polio
did.
made a comeback. The other diseases are still around and make comebacks. But yes, the vaccines are there to help curb those things, which is
So,
beautiful. But those vaccines also have been around for longer than this one has been, and that's a part of
so,
my thing. It's these things have been around a little longer, so give
so
it
to
some
tie,
time for me, and I'll give it.
so to tie this back into the NFL, because which is why we're talking about
Yep,
this. These guys are around medical professionals all the time
true
with their
indeed,
bodies, and
true
they're
indeed.
the, they're well more informed than us general, i.e., general public people. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, they have the most to gain or the most to lose by either taking a shot or not taking this shot. So I can see why the NFL is saying, listen, if you choose to stay unvaccinated, it's going to cost you game checks, it's going to cost you wins or losses because you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say let me give the people what that is on that point right there. Right now, the NFL they said that they're not rescheduling shit. They didn't say shit, but they ain't rescheduling shit. And
Right.
so if you are the team, so say it's my Giants, you mean your Giants versus my Eagles. Holy shit. Never that. But
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
that. It is your Giants, all right, it's your Giants versus my Eagles. Your Giants go into the game with Saquon down and Daniel Jones down because of COVID, and then say the backup quarterback is down because of COVID, and so now you want to say you can't play the game because also say some front office members also caught COVID. So you're looking for a reschedule. The Eagles, we didn't have no fault in that.
Right. We gave you enough
You
time
guys as the
to get it.
Giants, yeah, you guys as the Giants caused this game to be canceled. So now neither one of us, as far as the players and the team, gets paid. But yet you, the team that caused it, would
Gets the
have to
L.
cover any expense. Yeah, you get the L, and you have to cover any expense due behind that.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Right.
I did
You
not
have
know
to
that
cover,
part.
yeah. And where is it in the article? I had it exactly. Here it is. It says, all right, NFL. We're not gonna read that part. The team. All right. It says the team with the outbreak will forfeit and be credited with a loss per sources informed of the situation. In addition, players on both teams will not be paid for the contest, and the team responsible for the canceled game due to unvaccinated players will cover financial losses and be subject to potential discipline from the commissioner's office. So
Wow.
so here's where this thing gets tricky. You have that coach from the Minnesota Vikings who pretty much said, "Well, fuck it, I quit. Fire me, whatever. I'm not getting the vaccine." You had people. I think Jalen Ramsey was one of them, and DeAndre Hopkins was just like, like on some like I'm not getting the vaccine shit. So what will happen? Now you make them sit home. Now you got to play with your second and third stringers. Oh fucking well, because some people truly do feel like this is infringing upon them, like you're trying to force this upon me when I don't want it. I don't believe in it. I'm not, or you're, like I said, you're of the mind like me. I am not ready to get it now because I want to wait for a better version later.
What's also crazy is that the team that that is vaccinated or whatever doesn't get a game check either. So now you costing them money, and they did the right thing.
Well, yeah, if you want to perceive it as doing the right thing, then yeah, that's
Well,
true.
I-
But
I'm just saying they're
according
following
to
the
what the league
guidelines of the
wants,
following the
yes,
guidelines of the NFL.
yes. But here's
That's
here's what could be
crazy,
done. Here's what could be done. If it affects competition, so fucking what? This is the rule you made. There's 53 people on a roster. That's why there's backups. There's third stringers.
right?
If your whole starting, say if the whole starting 22, both sides of the ball, of the Tampa Bay Bucks said none of us got vaccinated. Well, guess what? You still have enough to field the team. So why does the game have to
You
be
gotta put it
stopped?
right. That's up to the coaches, I guess. You know, are you gonna put your second and third string guys out there versus our first string,
You
or
you
are you
got
gonna
you
forfeit?
got picked up. You got picked up in the league to be a professional athlete. Guess what?
Right,
Now it's time for you to step up to be a pro
right.
because you chose to get vaccinated.
Maybe they're gonna
Oh
be
well.
signing guys off the street like they did back in the day.
The
You know what I'm
scab
saying?
years. Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. So that could be the case. Guy was like, I got my shot. I'm ready to suit up, coach. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be very
That's
interesting,
that's
and it's
hey,
going to be very
but that's what it'll be.
because will guys
No,
sit
my
out
bad. I just said
games?
that's what it's got to be. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, so will guys sit out games because they feel uncomfortable with this or they feel pressured or like you said, DeAndre Hopkins is talking about retiring. You know what I'm saying? Now that gets into a sticky situation too. Are you retiring? Are you leaving that money on the table? Are you voiding out those years of the contract? Is the team liable to still pay you if you retire early? This is
Are you vested? Are you vested to get the league pension?
it's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Well, you know what though, too. As I think about it, this also calls to question. This can be perceived as capitalism at its finest. We're
You
dangling
know,
the money in your face. Do you want to lose all of this money? Like,
you know, and this also goes back to like the whole kneeling with the flag situation, right? Because the owners were forcing players, and listen, if you take a stand, you're not playing for my team. Now, can they do the same thing? If you don't get a shot, you're not playing for my team. Like, what's the extent of this?
right,
Now, the shot is affecting more people across the board than kneeling for the flag was. Now it's affecting every. Now you got coaches quitting. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Where the players on the field, it was just the players on the field at this point. So now everybody's getting, affected by this. So
Uh, yeah, well,
what's going to be there?
see, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think it's everybody's getting, it goes back to what I just said, though. You have a 53-man roster. You have practice players in the background also for just in case. That, hey, like I said, if Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, fucking and all the top quarterbacks in the league happen to have said, I'm not getting this vaccine, we ain't getting this vaccine. So now because your top stars are not getting vaccinated, okay, they don't play. Guess what? The game still got to go on, right?
What does they say? One monkey don't stop no show.
As it shouldn't.
So
As it shouldn't. So it's okay, fine. You got your rules. Good on you, NFL. And if you feel if they feel, which obviously they feel that this is what's right to make everything go along. I mean, and I mean overall, it's just the full court press though on pushing everybody to get vaccinated when people just don't want to. I have my feelings about it, but again, I respect whatever you choose to do for your body. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I
right.
respect what you choose, but it's like ESPN. It felt like every show I was watching PTI, watching Around the Horn. It was like you were getting browbeat over the head. Freaking get the vaccine, get the vaccine. Get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's still here. This virus ain't going nowhere. Like I've been saying, this virus ain't going nowhere. People are still catching it and still are surviving. Not everybody is dying, unfortunately. I'm still standing by that. but do what's best for you. But the league, if that's what you want to do as far as rules and all that is concerned, then then you have the right to do that. But just know, hey, guess what? You might lose eyes because the star player said, I'm not playing. I'm not well, fuck it, I retire. You as a team and an organization, you might lose some of your best players because and be out of contention for a championship because I don't believe in the vaccine right now. I don't believe in it right now. And then that calls the question of now you're infringing on people's personal beliefs. Just because this isn't religious, does a personal belief, should a personal belief maybe what people feel against this vaccine, should that be should anything be called the question behind that? Like you're now infringing on my personal belief. Does that not get respected? But then you fall back onto the NFL rule. You can have all the personal belief you want, but if you're not following this rule, then so be it. I.e., we just talked about Sakari Richardson. She did what she did, but guess what? The IOC had a rule. So I see it. I get it on both sides. I respect it on both sides. Only person I can speak for is myself. I personally, right now, am not ready to get it. I don't want to get it right now. Now, maybe if it affects our family trip in August, then I might get it because I don't want it to affect what we got coming for our children. I'm not. I haven't been worried or afraid of the virus personally because, like right now, where I'm at doing this recording, this is generally my space at work. Like I'm socially distanced from people almost all day, every day, unless I go to say what's up to somebody, go in the office, talk to people. If I'm at home, I'm quote unquote socially distanced except for around my family. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be a tricky, and this can be a very, very messy situation and season for the NFL. And hey, again, I'm only speaking towards my personal beliefs. None of y'all have to agree with me. Y'all all can email us at the Starting Five Podcast, no, the Starting Five Show at gmail.com. Express your displeasure with what I'm saying. Leave it under the comments under the podcast with your distaste for what I'm saying and displeasures for what I'm saying. I'm only speaking from my point of view, but when it comes to this league, hey, I recognize it on both sides. Is it fair? No. Is everything fair? No. If the league chooses that that's what they want to do, TJ, to make them feel like they're safe and the game is going to be right for them, they're a private entity that has the right to do what the fuck they want. Plain and simple. They could just
This
implement the testing policy for those. Why they can do that too?
Well, I think they're subjecting the unvaccinated to get tested at least twice a week now or something like that. I thought that was a stipulation
hey,
as
and
part
rapid
of
testing ain't a thing.
right.
They can
So
do it.
they're doing the unvaccinated get tested twice as much, or well, if you're vaccinated, they're not testing you at all at this point, I don't think. But if you're
With
unvaccinated,
to that point though, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
yeah,
But to that point there, is that not a problem though? When you can still catch COVID with the vaccine, why would you? Why if you're the league and you're doing the testing, why would you not test everybody, even vaccinated?
right,
Even vaccinated, because you can still catch it. And if you
right.
can still catch it, the vaccine isn't going to stop it from passing out of your body the same way as it did when you wasn't vaccinated.
Well, that's what I think. It well, unvaccinated, it just spreads like wildfire, according to
Yeah, yeah,
what they said. And if two vaccinated people are standing next to each other versus next to an unvaccinated person, maybe one out of the two gets the COVID, and that the the second person that's vaccinated doesn't get it.
yeah,
I'm not.
or doesn't feel symptoms. At
Right,
least
right,
can catch it and not feel symptoms.
right, and go continue to go on about their day. So I mean, this is just about the Shield keeping money in their pocket, keeping viewers' eyes on the TV. This is a machine. The machine is well oiled, and it's going to be very hard to derail the machine called the NFL. You
100%.
know, you know what I'm saying? So whether you got the B team out there, or you know your friend's cousin who played D3 ball and just got signed onto the practice squad, they're still going to show the NFL. They're still going to present the product to you. It might be bad, but they're still presenting the product to you, and there's always going to be people to watch it. That's the
This
bottom line. There's
this the
always
truth.
going to be people to watch it. NFL Network throws on mad throwback games 100 times a week. There's still people watching the throwback games. You already know the outcome. You already seen the thing. I watched NFL throw on the New York Giants Super Bowl versus the Patriots right now. I bet you I turn on and watch a half for no reason. But
For real. Yo, I can't tell you. I had the Eagles Super Bowl win on my DVR until I got rid of the DVR, and would every so often go back and watch that shit.
it's it,
Yeah.
it is what it is. The NFL is, it's a feel good. You rock it with your team. You feel like you're a part of it. It's there's no dynasties in the NFL outside of the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? As it is in with basketball per se, the same teams are not making the playoffs every year. Your team legitimately has a shot to make the playoffs and make a run almost every year, unless even Cleveland has come up. You know what I'm saying? I can't even say the Cleveland Browns anymore because they've even come up and they have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs this year with the squad they have. So, all 32 teams definitely have a shot. And, because of injuries or, how the season plays out, it gives your team a better chance to move further along in the tournament. And that's what keeps people glued to the TV every week. Plus the money. Fantasy football is crazy. $1 billion industry, bro.
Which, by the way,
$1 billion industry.
The Star Five Podcast Fantasy League, it'll be going up soon because ESPN opened up already. We can start putting this league together. Free
I'm
league,
definitely in on.
bragging
I'm
rights
definitely in on
league.
this.
Y'all will know
Yes,
when it's up in the group.
yes. So, that's another revenue stream for this sport, and people love to play fantasy football. I mean, that's one of the biggest things out when this time of year comes around. So, is it going to, like I said, one monkey ain't going to stop no show. These people are going to continue to put money out there, continue to buy jerseys, continue to support their teams, regardless of who's vaccinated, who's unvaccinated, who kneels, who stands, who beats a chick. You know what I'm saying? No matter what domestic violence issue, it doesn't matter.
Right?
The NFL is damn near, that shield is damn near bulletproof because people are
For
going
real.
to
For real.
continue to watch the show. Look at the Washington football team. It's called the Washington football team.
Football team.
It's called the Washington football team. The most generic ass name you could possibly get for a football team. People were still in the stands. People still bought jerseys. People still supported the Washington football team. All
Yeah.
right. With a tacky ass name like that, they still supported it. So,
Yeah. Like I said, man, it's just the NFL. They know how big and powerful they are. This is their point in time where they can flex their muscles a little bit. And hey, like I said, they have every right to do it. They got every right to do it. But just as much as they have every right to enforce their rules, same thing, players. You have every right to enforce what you believe in. But like I say to every single thing in life, whatever you do, you got to go in and understand that there's consequences to your actions no matter what you do. So you can be unvaccinated. You can catch the virus. You can still not catch the virus. You can be vaccinated, catch the virus, but take it a little better. You can catch the virus, you can still die. You can catch the virus, you can still pass it on, or you could just go about your life like normal. Either way, and however you spin it, there are always consequences, no matter what you choose. And just go in with full understanding of this is my choice, but I understand the risk and consequences that are behind it. As long as you do that, you'll never get an argument from me because I'm not one to tell you. TJ ain't one to tell you how to live your life. And what the fuck do you look like? Look, telling a grown adult how to live. That's for what you teach your children. You teach your children, hey, you might not want to touch that, unless you're a parent like me. That it's like, hey, unless I know it's gonna kill you. You tried it once, you learned. Whatever way you choose to take it after that, you learned. But it is what it is when it comes to the NFL and COVID. But the last thing, TJ, we're gonna move on this. The last thing, real quick on because you mentioned the Washington football team. The Cleveland Indians went with, in my
Oh
opinion,
God.
one of the wackest names, the Guardians. But I still think it's a whack name. It ain't my team, but they made it make sense because they said that the bridge that leads into Cleveland has two guardians of the road on it, like the pillars of the bridge and all of that, and there's other little nonsense and stuff. But shout out to
Dan.
Lucy real quick to go backwards. She said, "TJ, you sewed up the reason why the COVID protocols really don't matter to players, coaches, front office people, fans, and media because the NFL is a religion." Dope, and pretty much you spit the truth. You spit the truth there because at the end of it all, it's about the NFL and making sure that they keep the income coming in. But back to the Guardians, though, TJ. I don't remember it in my head to how it made sense for the city, but they should have went with a name like the Rockers or Cleveland Rocks. Like that, it would have been fly. It would have been dope. They could have had a better logo, and it represented the city where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. But I digress. The floor is yours.
Dude, when I first heard this, I didn't believe it. Like there was like I thought it was like a cartoon. I thought it was a gimmick. I thought it was some kind of joke. I was like the Guardians, like the Guardians of the Galaxy Guardians. Like what? You're gonna put that across your jersey, the Guardians, and now batting for the Guardians is. Some people were saying because it's got the half laughs of Indians in the back of it that they can make that sense to it. You know what I'm saying? You're muted again, so I can't hear you. Um, or
Yeah, I heard that too. Is what I was trying to say.
yeah,
Sarah Spain tried to make a point that the way the lettering is written, as I'm showing on the screen, that it can still be perceived as it says Indians at the end, which no, it doesn't.
no,
No, it doesn't.
no, no. Nobody's gonna get
No, it
that
doesn't.
reference. Nobody's going to. I see them changing his name in like 5 years. It's not gonna it's not gonna sell. This nobody's gonna buy this. The logo is trash. The name is trash, and it doesn't represent the city. Or I mean, you said it represents two statues from some what bridge? I don't care about any bridge leading into Cleveland, bro. Like who cares? If you're not from there, then you're not gonna understand what the hell that means.
Well, if you see in the top left corner of what I'm showing, those are the quote unquote guardians that they were describing as
Trash.
yeah. And then the logo itself, like I called it looked like a fancy pitching machine. Some tried to say that it represented a knuckleball, the way you grip a knuckleball. Like this is
G with
dumb.
wings, the G with the wings on the back, on the top of the baseball. Like, what did they have? Like sixth graders like pick this name out or something like that?
Yo, they said, and allegedly they went through 1,200 names. Allegedly, I swear they should have went by they could have went by like I said, the Cleveland Rockers, Cleveland Rocks. They could have went
At
by the
this point,
Cleveland Joe Boos. They could have went by the
Dan,
Cleveland Wild Things. Like
Dan, at this point, they could have been. It would have been better off calling themselves the Caucasians. At this point,
right? They I
and that would have sold mad shirts and jerseys. You know
It
what I'm
already had yo. Funny enough, funny as I wrap this up, I one of my coworkers here, who happens to be Italian, actually has that shirt, the Caucasians,
Yo, so
which is it just works perfectly.
they 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 need to do a bit. I mean, this is a multi, I guess almost $1 billion baseball team. Your marketing team's got to do a better job than leaving it to the people. If this is the best name they're gonna come up with, like this is totally makes no sense at all.
None at all. But what makes sense is, and what always makes sense is this was a dope show. Nice little quick hitter, 50 minutes on y'all heads, real quick, because we got some chilling to do. I'm going to see TJ in a little while, very,
Yes,
very
sir.
soon, a couple hours from now. You know what to do.
Yo, thank you again. It was a dope show. Shout out to everybody in the comments participating today. Shout out to everybody listening to the podcast and support. We love y'all. We really appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a nice and safe weekend out there. The weather's dope. Take advantage of it. Be smart. Don't get faded like Dan did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We just early until your eyeballs pop out. That's a no go. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? Don't do it to yourself. You're a grown ass person. Don't do it to yourself. You know better.
Drink responsibly, as they say. Word up. Thank you to everybody in the comments, too, as always. Lisi, Mike, Pat, and Sarah. Thanks, y'all, for rocking with us in this short one. We usually go an hour and a half to two. Pause, however you want to take that. But yeah, but thank y'all for kicking with us as always. The Star5Podcast.com. Make sure y'all join the Facebook group. Make sure y'all get your people to come join the Facebook group. We are on YouTube under the Starting Five Podcast. Also, please go subscribe to there so we can get our numbers up. We want to eventually turn this into a monetized show, man. So help us get to that 1,000 number that we need to start getting monetized there. And yeah, that's it, man. So for Katara, who couldn't be here, busy this week. JP also busy, but we're gonna see him a little later. TJ and myself, we out. Peace. See
Peace.
y'all next week.